Good morning, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and today we are going to dig up this rose. As you see, it's leaning over. Something happened this winter and it looks like something dug under the roots, but it is still alive. Let me zoom in. You can see some green growth on it, and I need to salvage it. So I'm going to dig it up and put it in a pot, trim it back, and see if we can't bring it back to life. This is a Candyland rose. It's really pretty and very vigorous. So the rose is leaning towards us. I had to move the camera because of the bright sun, and there's still part of it in the shade or shadow, so it's probably not the best visibility. But now I'm going to come over here. So the rose is leaning down here. You can see my shadow here, but the root is back here, right where my head shadow is. And that's where I'm going to start digging and to dig this up. I got most of the stuff pulled away. There's a few things. There's a lily or something here that I don't really want to disturb, but it's not near the root ball. So it's just that the rose is laying on it at the moment. So I am going to start digging. It looks like the soil's pretty loose. I think it's something has been digging here. I don't know if I have voles or a gopher, but I'm going to dig it up and put it in its pot. Coming up pretty easy. Now it's no wonder that this was suffering, because as I dug it up, it revealed that it really doesn't have much of a root mass here. It's just very little. Something's been chewing on it. So it's probably those critters that I need to get rid of because they're going to do more damage in my garden. And I don't know if you can see this right here. Let me see if I can zoom in on it for you. You'll see some growth coming down here. There's a shoot. And this is the graft. This is obviously a grafted version. And normally now I always buy own root roses. I really try to, because then I don't get suckering, or if something should happen like a late freeze, or early freeze I should say, or even a very late one, if it kills back the rose, what comes back from the root will be true to what I purchased. Like this is Candyland. It's probably grafted onto Dr. Huey, which is kind of a it's not a very pretty rose, or it doesn't stay pretty. It gets these like burnt edges looking red. So this needs to come off. I'm just going to snap it off because I don't want the growth coming from the roots. I want it coming from here or this cane that's left. So I am going to trim this thing back before I put it in its pot, because it needs a hard prune after, especially it needs to focus on putting out roots. So I'm going to get a pot of soil to put it in, and I'm going to cut it back really hard. I'm going to need loppers for that big cane. Get that going, and I'll be right back. Now Minnie would probably screech at this, but I'm going to give this a really hard haircut, and it won't hurt it. It'll send out new growth. And I'm going to cut it down below this cane here. And that will go be burned. And now I have just this small piece. That's okay. I'm going to cut this dead off too, so that it's not trying to put energy into that. And then I need to fill my pot a little bit more with soil, and then I will put it in the pot and water it well. Here is my pot of soil. This is my recipe of 2 or 3 parts compost and 1 part perlite. And I put that in there. You see how much I've cut back? Cut the dead off. This is probably the graft part. And then it still looks like it's damaged too, but you know, this rose was suffering and it was going to die, and if this will revive it, great. If it dies, it was going to die anyway. So don't be afraid to be tough. I could probably even take this down a little bit further, and maybe down to like 4 or 5 inches, and it will come back. Don't worry. And I'm going to fill this up with more soil, and then I'm going to water it well, and I'm going to put it somewhere kind of shady for now, because I want it to get over the stress of all of this. Especially as it has very little fibrous roots to really suck up the water, and I want it to revive from this shock. And then I'll put it in a sunny spot where it can get the energy it needs to grow healthily. Okay, fill it with soil. Here's the rose that I dug up. This is called Candyland, and I dug it up and did a video of me digging it up because it looked like it was dying. It was laying over on the ground, and something had been chewing on the roots, and there wasn't much left. And I potted it up, and here is the result. It has revived. I had cut it back hard, and thankfully it was able to recover. Now I'm going to show you another one here. Let me come around the camera. That voles have just about decimated. You could actually see chew marks right here where they chewed right through the cane. I have almost no roots, and I dug it up and I plunked it in some water until I could get some nice potting soil. I'm going to pot this up and hope against hope that it will recover. This is one of my new ones. This is Olivia Rose Austin, and it was blooming so pretty, and then all of a sudden it looked like it was dying. And here I, like I said, dug it up, and the result is voles. Those things need to go. They're really doing a number on my garden this year. So I will share with you if this one recovers too once I pot it up and try to get it to root. But I really wanted to show you this one and how it has totally recovered from being nearly eaten to death by voles.